Whether thou art a ghost that hath come from the earth, or a phantom of night that hath no home, or one that lieth dead in the desert, or a ghost unburied, or a demon, or a ghoul, whatever thou be until thou art removed, thou shalt find here no water to drink. Thou shalt not stretch forth thy hand to our own. Into our house enter thou not. Through our fence break through thou not. We are protected, though we may be frightened. Our life you may not steal, though we may be scared to death.
Welcome to Scared to Death, Creeps, Peepers, Roberts, and Annabelles. I'm Dan.
Hello, Dan. I'm Lulu Marie.
Yeah, Lulu Marie.
I know. Listen. I've got your sister on it.
Okay.
Yep. We've got a family trip coming up, and she's just going to start calling me that in front of everyone without explanation.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Somebody else recently, just got on the bandwagon. I'm making it stick, bro.
It's a new you.
New year, new me.
You have a couple announcements and then we're off.
Yes, very quickly, guys, gals, creeps, peepers, don't forget that next week, the 6th annual fan Scared to Death book is coming out. Okay, reminder that it's a pre-sale, and we are doing a limited run of 1,500 books, just like last year. All are autographed, okay? Every single of the 1,500 books is autographed.
Thanks for wanting them.
Yeah, oh my God, it's such a huge deal. So on Tuesday, August 19th at 12 noon Pacific time, that's 3 p.m. Eastern time, 500 books will be released for Annabelle's only. You will need your password to access that portion of the store and apply your discount. Then the following day, on Wednesday, August 20th, the remaining 1,000 books will go on sale for anyone else who wants them, also at 12 noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Last reminder, they are pre-sale, so you're not getting it instantly. The book will be in your hands on or before Halloween, guaranteed.
Boom.
And then where do you get those? Well, you go to badmagicproductions.com, and also while you're there, it's your last chance to get summer camp tickets. So if you suddenly have a gap in your life and you're like, what should I do that weekend? Well, you should join us at summer camp. The sales will close on August 21st. So book 19th and 20th, depending on your status at the show, and then 21st, last day for camp, bada bing, bada boom, bada bang.
And you are happy to get some Sunny Angels.
Oh, yes. You guys, thanks.
And then we're off into horror.
Big thanks to Kendra and Peyton, who both sent me some Sunny Angels. Kendra, my favorite one of the two that you sent is the pear. He is sitting on my desk. And then Peyton, oh my God, hers actually came from South Korea.
Yeah.
And I got one, it's like in a little rubber ducky raincoat. Both, they're on my desk. They're holding hands. I'm so excited. I love them.
Adorable. All right, Lulu Marie. How many allegedly true paranormal horror stories have you selected for us from those sent into my story at scaredtodeathpodcast.com?
Well, Daniel, I have two. My first takes us to a house that someone bought at auction comes fully occupied.
Okay.
Cool
setup.
Yes. And then my second story is about a couple of cousins going camping who get quite the scare. Which I think is great because you're going camping this week. So I'm ready to mess with your head.
Okay. I always forget about, you could buy houses at auction. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My first of two tales involves either a haunted game from the 90s that I had not heard of, but I'm like, it's pretty entertaining, or an entity using a game from the 90s to access a young girl. And I won't give away more than that. I'm curious if you remember this game.
Okay.
Definitely was not. I was not part of its target demo.
Well, since I'm so much younger than you, it might, register with me.
Totally. My second story is about SHC, which is spontaneous human combustion.
Oh, no.
And I won't say any more about that one. Wild.
I do not care for that already.
So once you're feeling cozy and protected with this week's spoopy socks, I will begin.
Yes, big thanks to Stacy from chickenswithmom.com. She sent me these.
God, adorable.
I know. I think that this is her
her chicken?
Her chicken, Cricket, and they put a tutu on Cricket.
Yeah.
And so these were sent, Stacy, thank you so much for sending them. On one side, they show Cricket in a tutu. On the other side, they say #ally. They were meant to be for Pride Month, but we record so far in advance that, sorry.
Yeah.
Here they are.
Okay, here we go. This first tale posted anonymously just a few months back. Time now for the tale of the bad dream phone. I've read enough of these stories to know that almost everyone says this, but I still feel the need to write the obligatory, "This is real. This really happened." And I'll add that for the life of me, I don't really fully understand how I could have forgotten it all. Brains are weird. I've heard about, I've even joked about repressed memories before, but I don't know if I ever really believed in them. But then a few weeks ago, when, of all things, a vintage commercial popped up into my YouTube recommendations, a commercial for Dream Phone, it all came rushing back. I was 12 when it happened, back in 1992. Feels like that was forever ago. But also, when I think about this now, like it was yesterday. I was in 7th grade, had braces, a Cleopatra 3-ring binder, one of those Lisa Frank ones that all my friends had, if you recall them, and a massive crush on a skinny 8th grade boy with dark brown eyes and a big mop of dark curly hair named Jonathan Brandis. We lived in suburban Ohio, one of those neighborhoods with identical 2-story homes and fresh asphalt driveways. Safe. Normal. That Christmas, my parents got me the Dream Phone board game. If you don't remember it or never saw it, it was clearly built specifically for girls' sleepovers. Inside the box was an oversized pink plastic phone and a big pile of glossy cards with photos on them of different good-looking teen boys, or maybe even young men, since some of the guys looked like they were definitely in their mid-20s. Each card had a different phone number, and the goal was to figure out who your secret admirer was, which of these boys, or men I guess, had a crush on you, by calling the different guys and listening for clues. A bit cringy now, thinking about playing it when we were 12, but for a few weeks, that winter, it was everything. I played it a few times with my friends over winter break, and then, like with most toys I had around that age, what was the coolest thing ever got lame real fast, and I got bored and put it away. And then for the next few weeks, it stayed in my closet, stuffed behind some other board games and school projects. After a while, I completely forgot about it. Until the phone rang. And I, of course, don't mean my phone. I didn't have one. This was the early 90s, remember? Literally no one had a cell phone. It was the Dream Phone, ringing from inside my closet. And when it rang, it was late, like way past bedtime. I've been quietly staying up reading Goosebumps with a flashlight under my comforter when I heard it that first time. I was just starting to drift off. Ring, ring. A tinny plastic ringtone. Definitely not the sound of our house phone. I immediately thought of the Dream Phone, and I froze. I stayed under the covers and didn't move, didn't breathe. After a few seconds, no more than 4 or 5 rings, it stopped. I laid there, controlling my breathing, not moving, trying not to make a sound at all, while I listened to see if it would start up again. When it didn't, I thought maybe I just imagined it, or that I dreamt it. Eventually, I fell asleep. The next day, I didn't say anything. I think I'd really convinced myself that it truly had just been a dream. And I didn't want to add to my reputation in the family for being dramatic. A few months earlier, I went to a sleepover where we watched Pet Sematary and Poltergeist, 2 movies I definitely wasn't allowed to watch at home. I totally freaked out, became convinced that various monsters were either already in my friend's house or were about to get in. I couldn't fall asleep, and then pretty soon, I could not stop crying. Not long after that, I decided that I had to get out of that house and go home. It was a whole thing. I ended up waking up my friend's parents, who I'm sure were not happy about it, even though they were so nice, and then they called my parents, who were definitely not happy. Then, to make it worse, I insisted on sleeping in my parents' room, full-on hysterics when they initially told me no. After they relented, I don't remember how many nights I ruined their sleep, but I think it went on for at least a week of me dragging my blanket and pillow to their door every night like a toddler. So no, I wasn't going to tell them that I thought I might have heard my Dream Phone ringing in my closet. I didn't want the look again. The disappointed, "Rachel, enough" look. But then it rang again, the next night. Ring, ring, ring. I remember thinking it was louder this time, or like it sounded like it was closer. I tried not to make a sound like before, but this time I didn't stay under my covers. I sat up in my bed and stared at the closet door like it might burst open at any moment. I imagined that sitting up and facing the door felt like it gave me some kind of semblance of control over what was happening. Like if something did burst out of the closet, I'd be more ready to hop out of my bed and run towards the door or defend myself somehow. When I rose up from beneath my covers, I remember that my room felt freezing. I remember that detail so clearly, how cold it was. Like the heating vent, I just stopped working. After the initial first few rings, it went quiet. But after sitting and staring at the closet door for, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, it started to ring again. 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 rings. And then it stopped for the night, while I just continued to sit there and stare. And I don't know how long, a minute, 2, 5, I laid back down, or after I don't know how long, I laid back down, pulled the covers up over my head, and eventually fell back asleep. The next day when I woke up, I knew it wasn't some dream I'd had the night before. The dream phone had definitely rang on its own, and I wanted to know why. I went into the closet and dug the dream phone box out. Everything was still inside. Phone, cards, instructions, everything. I tested the phone and it worked like it should, which was actually sort of comforting. That meant the battery still worked, or so I assumed. I needed a screwdriver to open the compartment and check that it still had batteries in it. I didn't have one and didn't want to ask my parents for it because then they would have asked me what I needed it for. So I had to sneak into the garage and look around in my dad's toolbox. Luckily, I found it and my parents didn't catch me sneaking into my room before school. I opened the compartment, took the 4 AA batteries out, then screwed the lid to the battery compartment back on tight. I remember feeling pretty proud of myself that I was able to figure that out all on my own. Thinking that I'd definitely solved the problem, I put everything back in the box, shoved the box to the back of the shelf, shut my closet door, got ready for it, and went to school. But that night, the 3rd night in a row, it rang again. Ring, ring, around the same time, not long after I'd fallen asleep. And the room felt cold again, just like it had the previous night. Probably felt cold the first night too, but I just hadn't noticed since I was buried under the covers. Going forward, it'll feel cold every time things start to happen. This time, instead of running to my parents' room screaming and not caring if they thought I must have watched another horror movie and getting in trouble, I answered it. I honestly don't know what made me do it. Maybe I thought if I just picked up the stupid phone, it would stop. Maybe I was curious. Or maybe something wanted me to answer it. Whatever the reason, instead of hiding under the covers or sitting on my bed and staring at the closet door, I flung off my covers, swung my legs off of the bed, and walked over and opened the door. It was still ringing when I reached for the box, took it off the shelf, set it on my desk, the desk my parents had gotten for me to do my homework on, and lifted up the pink plastic receiver. It was warm. That detail has stuck with me ever since. Not just warm like it had been used, but like alive warm. Like skin, if that makes any sense. Instead of that freaking me out and leading me to throwing the phone across the room and running screaming towards my parents' bedroom, I held it to my ear. And someone spoke. Someone who sounded like a teenage boy. His voice was nice. He sounded cute like one of the boys from the game. And he said, "Hi, Rachel. I was hoping you'd answer. I've been trying to talk to you." I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My mouth had gone completely dry. I thought I must be dreaming. And then he whispered, "Do you want to play with me tonight?" I immediately hung up, threw the phone back in the box, tossed the box back on the shelf, and shut the closet door again. Then I moved my desk over and put it in front of the door, so if anything was in there, it would be harder for it to get out. I wanted to wake up my parents so bad, but I knew they wouldn't believe me. I didn't think they'd get rid of the game either. They had just gotten it for me and it wasn't cheap. I backed up, never taking my eyes off the closet, sat down on my bed and rested my back against the wall. I didn't sleep much that night. I sat there and cried for I don't know how long before I eventually went to sleep, knees up to my chest, waiting for the phone to ring again. But it didn't. But it did the next night, and the night after that, and a lot more nights. And I kept answering. I don't know why. The more I answered, the less scared I felt. It was like I was being hypnotized or something. The boy, or whatever it was I was speaking with, told me his name was Ryan. He said he was a couple years older than me, but never gave me a age number. He said he liked to play baseball, that he wanted to be a doctor, but mostly he was pretty vague. Nothing real specific. He kept the focus on all of our talks on me. He told me how pretty I was, how I was going to grow up to be the most beautiful woman, and I soaked it up. I was going through a pretty awkward phase at the time. I was already boy crazy, but boys wanted nothing to do with me. Ryan would ask me about my day. He'd say that he liked the sound of my voice. He told me I had the prettiest eyes he'd ever seen. He told me I was so funny, and I definitely wasn't. Not then, at least. But it felt good. I ate it all up. It felt like I had a boyfriend. And as weird as this is to say, I think I was starting to fall in love with him. Instead of being afraid that the phone with no batteries in my closet would ring again at night, I started to be afraid that it wouldn't, that I would never hear from him again. The first few couple of calls were short, then they started getting longer, and then finally one night when I told him that I really wanted to see him in real life, he said something like, "You don't belong here. You belong with me." I asked him where here was, or where was I supposed to meet with him, and he said as best as I can remember, "Not far away. I can see you from where I am. You just can't see me." It's better here than in your house. There's no parents telling you what to do, no being alone. You'll never be scared again. You just have to come find me." I asked him how, and what he said terrified me. "You have to die, Rachel." I dropped the phone and started screaming, and I kept screaming until my mom burst into my room and asked what was wrong. I told her that I'd had a nightmare. I didn't think she believed me, or would believe me if I told her the truth. She did seem to believe my story about a bad dream mostly. I remember seeing some hesitation, that flicker of "not again" in her eyes. The next morning, I hid the dream phone game down in the basement, shoved it behind some old coats and Christmas decorations. I didn't want to try to throw it away and risk my parents finding out. I knew I'd get in trouble for that. But I also couldn't handle it being in my room anymore. Obviously, I thought that might fix things. Up until that point, everything that had happened was centered around the phone. Even the strange temperature drops only ever happened when it rang. That night, I didn't hear it ring for the first time since everything started. I think it had been around 10 days or maybe 2 weeks the most. But I heard something else after I went to bed that night. Scratching. From inside the walls, from inside the vents. The origin of the sound kept changing places. It sounded like something was moving around through the house. I immediately thought it was Ryan, and I worried he was looking for me. Now I truly started to get really scared. I started seeing things out of the corners of my eyes, a shadow at the end of the hall when I cracked open my door, a pale hand curling around my bedroom doorframe, then disappearing after I retreated to my bed. I don't know how I didn't start screaming again. I guess I was just that worried about my parents being upset with me, about getting in trouble and not having them help me. The scariest thing to happen after I put my dream phone in the basement was hearing Ryan's voice come from other places. Like when the home phone rang during dinner. My mom answered and got annoyed. Nobody there. I picked it up the next time and heard him again. "Rachel, it's me. Why don't you want to talk to me anymore? Why don't you want to be with me?" I hung up, and then I pulled the phone cord out of the wall. Lights started flickering around that time. I woke up with bruises one morning, 5 long finger-scraped marks, or shaped marks on my arm. And then one night I woke up to hearing the dream phone ringing again. It was sitting on my desk, just the phone, not the rest of the game that was still in the basement. That was it, the last straw. I threw it on the floor and smashed it with a heavy book. And the next morning, I threw it away. I put the pieces in a black trash bag and shoved it to the bottom of the outdoor garbage can. But that afternoon, right after I got home from school, he called again, and my mom heard him when she answered the phone. She smiled and told me that some boy named Ryan wanted to talk to me. I didn't want to get into it with my mom, why I didn't want to talk to him, again thinking there was no way in a million years she'd believe me. So I took the phone and put the receiver to my ear, and he was angry. "You don't get to leave me," he hissed. "I picked you. You're mine." Then the line went dead, and I broke down sobbing. That was when I finally told my mom. I couldn't handle keeping it a secret any longer. I was petrified. I expected her to blow up, to ground me or yell at me for watching another horror movie, but she didn't. Instead, she got really quiet, and then she said something that still gives me the chills. "I've been hearing things too." She told me that for the past week, the oven timer had started going off in the middle of the night, every night, even when it wasn't set. She said the basement light kept turning on by itself. She told me that she thought she heard a boy's voice whispering something around the house on a couple different occasions and kept feeling strange cold spots. And she thought she'd seen a few shadows shifting around. She hadn't said anything to me about it because she didn't want to scare me, and she kept trying to convince herself that she was imagining it. She told me that when she was a kid, she was a lot like me and would easily scare herself, get all worked up over nothing. But this felt different, and now she had confirmation that it wasn't just her. After telling me all that, my mom did something I had never seen her do before. She lit a white candle, held my hands, and started praying. And not like a bedtime prayer, something different. She kept saying, "No spirits allowed," and "In the name of Jesus Christ, leave this house." And then the next day, she called a woman from her church, someone who'd helped cleanse houses before. That woman came over with oils and read scripture and said more prayers. She anointed every doorway and window with oil, said my room had a heaviness to it, and insisted we toss out the rest of the dream phone game and get rid of our living room phone since the dark spirit's demonic energy had entered it. My mom agreed. She did all that without my dad ever knowing about it. She was even able to find an identical home phone to replace the one she threw away. She said that Dad didn't believe in ghosts or spirits, and that they could try and hurt you, and that it would annoy him. It would be our secret. After that, it stopped. The scratching, the cold, the phone calls, the bruises, all gone, and my mom didn't talk about it with me again. She told me that it was best not to give the experience any of our energy, that if we did, we risked it coming back. She said it was best to try and forget all about it. And somehow I did. I guess maybe I needed to forget. For over 30 years, I never thought about any of that again. Until last month, I was folding laundry while watching YouTube on my phone, just letting it autoplay through random nostalgic videos. Old commercials, toys, school lunchroom stuff, and then it popped up. Dream Phone Commercial 1991. Pink, loud, girls giggling and saying stuff like, "He's not wearing a hat," and "You're right, he's not my secret admirer." I dropped the shirt I was folding and everything came back. The closet, the phone ringing, the voice, the cold, the boy. It all hit me so hard I almost threw up. It was like remembering a trauma you've buried for years. I guess what I went through was a trauma. I realized I'd never told anyone outside my mom, not even my husband, not my best friend. I'd completely locked it away until now. So here I am, telling it, in the hope that maybe someone out there who has experienced something similar feels less crazy. Oh, and one more thing. The dream phone didn't come with the built-in ringer. I completely forgot about that. We used to dial up boys in the game, but it never rang. There's no way it should have been able to ring on its own. But it did. So if you happen to have a copy of that old game and you hear that big pink phone ring, do not answer. Nothing good is waiting for you on the other end of that line. Maybe it'll be Ryan, still looking for someone to play with.
That's so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I do not recall this game. Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all. I also wasn't like a typical girl that way, I guess, or
Yeah.
just like that kind of girl.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have the like dating games or any like no like pretty princess shit. My mom was determined that I would not be like that kind of girl.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And subsequently, actually, we raised Monroe the same way. Like,
Yeah.
I never bought her any of that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like dating. It's so weird, actually, to think about.
It is.
Because I don't think that there are any board games now. I don't know what's out there now because our kids are older, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still making these bullshit dating games for girls.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to guess they are.
Yeah.
But they don't make that for boys.
No,
I can't
I don't think
imagine
so.
a 7, 8, 12-year-old boy being like, Mom, can you please buy me Dream Phone?
And it is pretty messed up that if there was a game marketed for like 12-year-old boys, and I think this game actually, oh my gosh, I can't remember. Maybe 9 and up. So like all the way down to 9 years old. If there was a game marketed to 9-year-old boys and there was like pictures of flirty 25-year-old looking women in there,
God.
and you're trying to like find out who wants to hook up with you essentially,
Yeah.
people would lose their fucking minds.
Lose their mind.
But for some reason, a lot of people, like when it's girls, it's like, oh no, that's what girls do.
That's just, let's just like pigeonhole them into more shit like that.
Because all they want to do is get married and have babies. That's it. They have no other thoughts.
No, and Dan, you're
Yeah.
forgetting, we also don't have any other purpose.
True.
Like, let's, okay,
It's
call a
your
spade a
It's your
spade.
sole purpose.
I remember my next door neighbor, Nikki, had this game, and it was like a tea party princess, but like the
Yeah.
goal was to like marry a prince. I mean, I'm sure it was a Disney game. I didn't care about any of that. What I loved was that it had all this like plastic giant like costume jewelry, and I
Yeah.
just wanted all of the sparklies.
Oh, yeah. All right.
That still holds true. I
got
love
you.
a shiny.
They got you with the shinies.
Yep, that's right.
I have some pictures.
Okay.
And then a little video that I'll just play the audio of. Here's a photo of the Dream Box cover.
Nope, don't remember this at all.
Comes from cf.geekdo-images.com.
Just think about what that would look like in 2025. Because like also
This is back in the age of landlines, yeah.
well, yeah, and also the hypersexualization of girls. Like these girls look older than 9 as it is, but
Yeah.
like now in today's modern era, where 9-year-old girls are spending hundreds of dollars at Sephora for like beauty supplies. I'm just imagining this weird like beauty pageanty, like super done up girls on the cover in like skimpy little outfits. Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Monroe and I saw, actually, we went to that concert in Missoula a few weeks ago when we were at that St. Regis truck stop. We were sitting there waiting for her little Huckleberry milkshake.
Uh-huh.
And we were sitting there, and there was this girl, and she couldn't have been more than 10, like
Oh,
8 to
God.
10.
Oh God.
And, you know, she's with her mom, and her mom had this girl decked out in the same kind of clothes, wearing the same makeup that she did, like
That's
a
so
little
creepy.
mini her. And it was so creepy because like her look was like hypersexualized. And I'm like, she's fucking 9 years old. What are you doing?
And there is a thing too. Like I am truly not judging anybody who allows their children, regardless of gender, to play with clothes and makeup. It's like, yeah, at home or like at a friend's house, not like we're going to the grocery store, so put your face on.
Yeah. Why do you want to have a 9-year-old who looks like a 25-year-old?
So creepy.
But just shrunk.
Oh, God,
Yeah,
it's so creepy.
This next one, these are the boys.
Oh my God.
Yep. So this is just a little collage from Allison.
Wayne is definitely in his 20s. And Dave, I'm on the last row on the right. Dave is like 30.
Oh my God, he is. No, Dale.
Oh, Dale.
Dale
Okay.
in the bottom right hand of this picture. Yeah, Dale.
Oh, I was looking at Dave, upper right.
Dale looks like he's already like a veteran stockbroker.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, he's been working in finance for a solid decade.
Now, middle, bottom row, Bob. Bob is creepy.
Bob is pretty creepy.
He's got that weird like, hey, baby.
It's such a flirtatious look, and Bob is for sure in his 20s.
It's all like, I don't know. This also leads me to like when we have movies in the now times.
In present times.
In the now times. And it's like meant to be, a high school kid. I'm like, why is a 25-year-old? Well, you mean to tell me there's no 17-year-old actors out there? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the only time I understand that is when they have sexualized scenes. And I appreciate that they don't use minors to do like romantic scenes and stuff.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword. It's such a tricky thing. How old were the actors in Saved by the Bell when they were acting? Because they actually felt like teenagers to me.
I think some were teenagers, some were in their 20s, and I think one infamously was in her 30s.
No way.
I think it was that show. Yeah, I can picture her. It's one of those shows. I think it was that show though, where she was like in her early 30s.
Funny. All boys for clues.
Yeah, this is the back of the box.
To find out who likes you.
Mm-hmm. Get the phone, get the board, all the little cards. And then I'm going to play.
This is so upsetting to me.
It just cracks me up.
The feminist in me is losing her fucking shit right now.
Okay, here's the commercial.
Who's got a crush on you? Hello, hunks. It's Dream Phone, the electronic game with the talking phone. To win, call guys, get clues, figure out which guy really likes you.
He's not wearing a hat.
Bye, guys. What'd he say? My secret. Huh? To you.
He's not at the beach.
See you later, guys. It's Dan. Dan, my man.
You're right. I really
It's
like
you. It's Dan.
Yes. Dream Phone, a hot electronic talking phone game. It's for you.
It's for you.
It's like a creepy sexualized Guess Who.
Yeah.
What
Very
in
weird.
the frick frack is going on?
So that was a weird one, but I like the story.
Yeah.
Are you ready to leave, whatever the hell that was, and talk about spontaneous human combustion? Or do you have
God,
questions?
I'm super anxious about this next one.
Okay.
I don't want to blow up.
Nobody does.
Okay, good.
This second tale is different. Not our usual ghost story or monster legend. I'll be talking about SHC, spontaneous human combustion. Real people found burnt beyond recognition in their homes without any clear cause as to exactly why they became completely engulfed in flames. In many cases, those who stumbled upon the remains found almost nothing left but ashes. But the walls around them barely scorched. The furniture virtually untouched. It sounds impossible and ridiculous, and some people think it is. But there's a lot of evidence and first-hand eyewitness accounts, some from coroners, some from first responders, others from friends and family members, who can attribute no natural cause to what they have encountered or examined. Can spontaneous combustion be explained by science or only by the supernatural? If you were to suddenly, inexplicably catch on fire, would you even care what the real reason was? Natural or supernatural, it's a terrifying phenomenon. Let's start with the facts and then take a turn into something darker. Time now for the tale of the fire inside. Let me begin by introducing you to the infamous case of Mary Reeser. On July 2nd, 1951, Mary, a 67-year-old widow, was relaxing alone in her St. Petersburg, Florida apartment. She'd spoken with her son earlier in the evening and told him she had taken 2 sleeping pills and might take a third. She was wearing her favorite nightgown, one she had fallen asleep safely with many times before. But that night, something strange and horrible happened. By the next morning, Mary was gone. Like, gone. Her landlady, Pansy Carpenter, showed up around 8 a.m. with a telegram. When she touched the doorknob, it was hot. Alarmed, she called the police. When they got inside, they found a scene that would haunt investigators for decades. Mary's remains were found in her living room chair, or rather what was left of her remains. Most of her body had been reduced to nothing more than ash, described by one fire chief as, quote, the most complete cremation I've ever seen. Only her left foot remained intact, still wearing a slipper. A chunk of her spine was also found, along with her allegedly shrunken skull that had somehow gotten smaller in the fire. The chair she sat on, mostly gone, but the surrounding room, barely damaged. Plastic switches on the wall had melted, sure, but the rest of the apartment was largely untouched. No massive fire, no soot everywhere, no accelerants found. The FBI and local investigators were baffled. A body doesn't just cremate like that, not in a home. A cremation furnace burns between 1,400 and 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. And yet, Mary Reeser was gone. 5 days later, on July 7, 1951, St. Petersburg Police Chief J.R. Reichert sent a box of evidence from the scene to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. He included glass fragments found in the ashes, 6, quote, small objects thought to be teeth, a section of the carpet, and the surviving slipper. Reichert also included a note saying, "We request any information or theories that could explain how a human body could be so destroyed and the fire confined to such a small area and so little damage done to the structure of the building and the furniture in the room not even scorched or damaged by smoke." Newspaper accounts of Mary's death would refer to her as the Cinder Lady. Fast forward now to December of 1980 for our next case that took place in Wales in the UK. A man named Henry Thomas, 73, was found dead in his living room in South Wales. He lived alone, he liked his tea, his television, and he mostly kept to himself. After neighbors hadn't seen him in a few days, one of them called the authorities and requested a wellness check. When police entered his home, they found another nightmare. Henry's entire body had burned away, leaving only his skull, a section of his ribcage, and one leg. His leg still wore a sock, and most of one of his pant legs. Like with Mary Reeser, the damage around him, atypical and bizarre. The room had some smoke damage, but nothing like what you'd expect from a house fire that obliterated a human body. His television set, just a few feet away, was completely untouched. The ceiling above him, not unusually high, not even scorched. Investigators eventually theorized something called the wick effect might be to blame. A freak phenomenon where clothing catches fire and then the body acts like a candle, fueling a slow burn. But that theory raises 1,000 more questions. Why does it only affect the person? Why is there no evidence of a sustained external flame? Why does it always seem to leave behind a lone foot or skull and spare the rest of the room? Why do so many cases involve the elderly, alone, often after taking sleeping pills or drinking? These two odd cases are far from, truly isolated. There have been around 200 cases, in the modern era at least, of people dying like Mary and Henry did. In 1967, a woman named Margaret Hogan was found burned to ash in her Dublin, Ireland home, but her legs remained intact. Her home barely damaged. In 1982, Jean Saffin, 61, was sitting in her kitchen in London when her father claimed she suddenly erupted into flames before his very eyes. And others. Witnesses said they saw blue fire coming from her mouth. She later died in the hospital with severe burns, and doctors could not explain what started the fire that seemed to come from within her. In 2010, a man in Galway, Ireland, named Michael Faraday was found burned to death in his home. The coroner listed his cause of death officially as spontaneous combustion, the first and only time that's ever happened in modern Western history. And again, these are just a few of many such cases. Some victims have died near fireplaces, sure, but most haven't. Some have been smokers who may have died with a lit cigarette in their hand, but with others, no candles, no matches, no flammable liquids were found anywhere near them. Some witnesses described smelling strange odors at the scenes of some of these deaths. Others have said the air in the room was inexplicably warm, like the fire had a presence. And in a few fringe cases, people reported hearing strange sounds before the fires, like a cracking, humming, or even whispering. With all that in mind, let's jump forward to an unsettling modern encounter claim. This final account comes from a 31-year-old woman named Erica. She claimed through a series of comments left in a chat room that she started getting obsessed with spontaneous human combustion back in 2023. She wrote, "It started as a passing interest. I listened to a few podcasts about it, read some articles. Mary Reeser's story especially freaked me out. And then I started reading more. Forums, Reddit threads, old scanned police reports. I couldn't stop." She said the deeper she went, the more she noticed a strange pattern. Many of the victims were alone, yes, but more specifically, they were sedentary, still, at rest. Almost like something was waiting for them to be motionless. "I read a theory that it's not a natural phenomenon at all," she said, "that it's invited, that the fire lives in certain words, and that the more you read about it, the closer it gets to you." She admits she wasn't in a great mental state when she began to explore this odd theory, that she was isolated, anxious, and newly divorced. But she also wrote that while she was trying to find evidence supporting the possibility that spontaneous combustion could be related to some kind of entity, weird things started to happen in her home. She claimed, "My cat stopped coming into my room. Every night for years, he'd sleep at the foot of my bed. But one week, right after I was deep in this research, he'd sit outside my door and meow, but never cross the threshold. I started waking up sweating, like soaked. The air felt thick and humid, and it smelled weird, like something between melted plastic and cooking meat. It would fade by morning. And then one night she wrote that she woke up and saw something. She wrote there was a shape. At first I thought it was a shadow, maybe a trick of moonlight, but it moved. And it had this glowing outline, like a person made of red embers, barely visible. Then it leaned over me. I swear I could feel heat on my face. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. It whispered something. I don't know what, but it made my ears ring. And then it vanished. She told no one and tried to brush it off. But then she claims that her mattress started to discolor. A darkened outline of her body began to appear, almost like a burn mark. Her sheets were untouched, but the foam underneath looked charred. I threw the mattress away, stopped reading about SHC, did everything I could to cleanse the space, she wrote. I even had a priest come bless my apartment. I haven't seen it again. I still sleep with the windows open, I keep a fire extinguisher by my bed, and sometimes, just sometimes, I wake up to that smell again, that burning smell. Erica doesn't claim to believe that whatever she has encountered was a ghost or a demon. She says she doesn't know what it was, only that she's never read another word about spontaneous human combustion ever since her strange experiences. So what do we make of all this? Are these unusual deaths nothing more than rare medical flukes, the so-called Wick effect? Or is there something else at work? Something ancient, invisible, and waiting? A paranormal parasite of some sort that feeds on isolation, a cursed flame that can be passed through stories. Whatever the exact nature of spontaneous human combustion, is it possible that some fires start not from the outside, but from within? Are some of us walking time bombs waiting to erupt?
Every woman going through menopause right now is like, yes, the fire is inside.
Fire is real.
The fire is real, and sometimes we explode. I mean, I would have found like such humor in like morbid humor in only women exploding. So it'd be like, yeah, no, that's what it is.
It's like an extreme hot flash. It just literally catches you on fire.
Honestly, it's how it feels. And mine haven't been that bad yet, so I'm scared for what may come. That is crazy.
Yeah.
I think the part that like bothered me the most was just like one leftover limb with like a pant leg or a shoe or a slipper. I'm like, that.
I have some photos.
Oh no.
Some crime scene photos.
Okay, let's just get it over with.
Yeah, this first one, this is a photo before she burst into flames of 67-year-old Floridian Mary Reeser, taken not long before she died. And then this is a photo of what left.
That's freaking insane.
Going through her ashes. And then here's a close-up photo, and that you can see her foot there.
You guys, it is a whole ass foot. It's not like, it looks like a mannequin leg was just like cut off and left.
Yeah, the shoe, it doesn't look like it's burnt. So it's just crazy that the fire burnt her down to ashes, and then suddenly at one point, the rest, what little is rest of her, just like looks unharmed.
Is this why you started to like lean into the paranormal piece of it? Because it's like that
It's
doesn't
so
feel
odd.
Possible.
And that's just what some people's theories are.
Yeah,
like
the devil is inside of her. He got in there and he was like, bitch, you're going down in flames.
Here's another one. I didn't share this story. Finally, this is a photo of the death scene of John Irving Bentley. You can see his foot down there on the bottom.
Why is it just 1 foot mid-calf down? It's basically the same foot.
I know it is.
I honestly was about to like say, like, do we need to stop? Do you have the wrong photo? This is crazy.
Supposedly, this is the photo of John Irving Bentley's crime scene from December 1966 via Wikipedia. John was a doctor who burned to death at the age 92 in the bathroom, and you can see the toilet there, of his Pennsylvania home, and is another frequently cited example of spontaneous human combustion. The coroner wrote that he died. This is crazy. The coroner wrote, like, his cause of death was losing 90% of his body to fire.
That's a weird way to put it.
And that's not the exact quote, but that's the gist. Is that
yeah. I mean, maybe that's the way it has to be written.
Yeah, the 90% part is real. Like, yeah, he lost 90% of his body to fire. All that was left of him was his left leg below the knee.
Okay, if we have any people, I know that we have for sure some nurses that, listen to the show, but anybody in medical or anybody in fire, please tell me there is something more real world going on here.
And
I cannot accept that I might just burst into fucking flames when I'm old, alone, and sedentary.
Oh my God. You know what's the craziest about this to me is how thoroughly the rest of them are burned.
Disintegrated. There is nothing.
It reminds me of the ash in the bottom of like an ashtray, just like cigarette ash. Like there's no like, it's not like chunky.
No.
Like there's big chunks of bone. It is like bottom of a campfire after it's been burning for days ash.
It is nothing.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I feel like that's going to bother me for quite some time.
You know what's funny is I got the idea to like share this because a long time ago in the original Unsolved Mystery series,
Yeah.
there was an episode of this and there was like these lists of like the creepiest unsolved mysteries episodes or, you know, like what bothered people the most. And the episode they did where they featured spontaneous human combustion ranks at like the top of all those lists. And there's just quotes of people being like, I remember seeing it when I was 10. It has bothered me ever since. Like it left a huge mark on some people's psyches.
Well, I will be one of those people.
And I read a book called Charles Berlitz's World of Strange Phenomena. It was just like my dad had it. It was laying around the house when I was like a kid.
Uh-huh.
And it was just little short stories of just weird shit that's hard to explain. Out of all the stories I read, there was a story on spontaneous human combustion. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I just remember being worried that I might catch on fire for quite a while after that.
Well, yeah, because there's enough things to worry about in general. Like, I think we all, to some degree, carry some fear. Like, you know, if something in our body starts to not feel right, we're like, oh God, this is it. I've got cancer. Like, we can't necessarily help it. We tend as humans to jump to the worst conclusion possible.
Yeah.
So that then we feel relieved when it's like, no, you just pulled a muscle.
Uh-huh.
You know, like we thought I had kidney stones. I don't. There's just something going on with my musculoskeletal system.
Yeah.
You know, but like immediately I was like, this is it. This is it. This is where they're going to be like, okay, actually your kidneys are riddled with cancer.
Totally.
No, of course not. I'm fine. I'm healthy. But adding something like this that you can't test for, there's no precursor, I guess, unless you start to smell like an acrid smell and your mattress topper looks charred. I don't know.
Yeah.
Woof. Woof. All right. Well, I'm ready to tell you 2 entirely different kinds of scary stories.
Okay.
So let's get started. Dear Dan and Lynze,
Hello.
I have been with both of you from the start and have recently become an Annabelle.
Thank you.
I re-listened to Time Suck, Is We Dumb, and Scared to Death while I renovated a house that I purchased, which is the reason that I'm writing.
Wow.
3 years ago, I bought a fully furnished, foreclosed upon house at an auction in very northern Minnesota. There was no backstory with the house and no tour. We only got to look at the outside of the house and the garage. For $12,000 and the cost of past due taxes and utilities, I bought myself a house. My very first house ever. After I paid for the house and confirmed payment on the past due utilities and taxes, the sheriff handed me the keys and I drove over to my new house. I was very anxious to see what was inside. I kept hoping that I had not wasted all the money I had saved. Driving from the sheriff's office to the house was awesome. I kept telling myself, I'm a homeowner. Finally, I'm a homeowner. All my life, I had lived in apartments, moving wherever rent was cheapest, school district to school district, always having to make new friends. I promised myself that when I was older and got a job, I would save as much as I could to buy a house so I would never have to move again. And I'd finally done that. Yay! Woohoo! I pulled into the driveway and walked to the front door. My first inkling that this house was odd should have been when I put the key in the lock and noticed that the door was unlocked and slightly ajar. Weird. I thought that maybe the sheriff forgot to lock it up. Yep, that must be it. He went in to make sure that no one had broke in or OD'd or anything like that. So thank you, Sheriff, for checking for dead bodies so I didn't have to. Kudos to you. I walked into my house and realized that there was a lot of work that needed to be done. It was a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath ranch with a basement. The first floor looked like it was straight from the 70s. Lots of linoleum, avocado green, harvest yellow, and very dated furniture. What carpeting there was shag. The sheriff said it was fully furnished, and he wasn't lying. Except for a layer of dust, it looked like the previous owner could come home at any moment. Knickknacks, wall hangings, you know, the things that make a house a home, were all over the place. I was going to have one heck of a garage sale or tax write-off with the donations. First things first, I opened the curtains to let the light in so I could see what the hell I was doing. I cleaned the windows, countertops, vacuumed, washed floors, scrubbed toilets. I did this for hours. As I worked my way from room to room, I made notes of what needed to be fixed in each room. I needed a new refrigerator, a stove, the sofa had to go, replace the overhead lights, paint needed everywhere, replace the locks, and so on. Did I mention that was turning out to be a handyman special in here? It had been a full day of cleaning, and I was starving. Since the fridge was a goner, I called the local pizza joint to deliver dinner. A nice sausage and onion pizza to top off a great day. Half an hour later, the pizza arrived. When I was done, I cleaned up, got ready for bed, creeped out to sleep in a stranger's bed, but that would have to wait, and I fell asleep quickly. I thought I had been sleeping for a while. I mean, I must have been. I was exhausted, but I became instantly awake. It wasn't because I was in a new place. It was because I felt the mattress dip down next to me. Someone or something was in bed with me. I was terrified. I couldn't bring myself to roll over to see what it was. I was defenseless. My first night in my new house, and I was being robbed, and God knows what else. I laid there, not moving. This person started caressing my thigh like a lover. I felt powerless to turn over and stop it, like I was glued to the bed. I can't explain it any other way except to say I was paralyzed with fear. The touch continued to travel to intimate parts of my body, but this was no lover that I wanted. After what felt like an eternity, I felt it pat my arm and rise up off the bed. These touches felt leathery, like the person had leather gloves on and needed to be conditioned. I didn't know if they had left. I hadn't heard any footsteps. After a while, I fell asleep again. Crazy, I know. I think that my brain couldn't take it anymore and just shut down. In the morning, I chalked it up to a bad dream. However, when I walked into the kitchen, the basement door was ajar and there was a pile of dirt on the floor. A floor that I had scrubbed on my hands and knees the day before. There should not have been dirt anywhere. And I hadn't gone into the basement yet, so why was the door open? I brushed it off. I had to have done it myself. I was alone there, right? It must have been the excitement of a new home and all the work that I was doing. I didn't realize that I had opened the basement door sometime the day before. Yep, that was my story, and I was sticking to it. I really didn't want any of it to be more than a bad dream. I continued my day with more cleaning, note-taking of what needed to be fixed or replaced, stuff like that. I stopped for some leftover pizza for lunch. I opened the box, and each piece had exactly one bite taken out of it. One bite, and not from the ends. They were from the middle, as if someone folded it in half and then bit out of the middle. What kind of psychopath eats pizza like that? Now, I knew someone had been in my house. I called the sheriff. After an awkward phone call and a visit from the sheriff, he told me that I probably just didn't remember eating the pizza and that the dirt was just from me moving around in a long, vacant house. He said I had been doing a lot and that I should forget about it and go on with making the house my own. Nothing was stolen, but how would I even know that? It's not really my stuff. There was no damage, and so on. So I ignored it and I went about my business. Or at least I tried to. For days, I cleaned and repaired the house. I bought appliances, tore up carpeting, stripped cabinets, painted, called a plumber, weeded, mowed, and anything else that comes with new home ownership. And every night, a leathery someone or something would crawl into my bed with me, spoon me, touch me with a lover's touch, then pat my arm and leave. In the morning, there would be a pile of dirt on the floor and the basement door would be ajar. I tried locking the bedroom door. It didn't work. I still became the little spoon. I was going to try drinking away my spoon monster, but I was afraid what would happen in my unconscious state. I put a lock on the basement door and a deadbolt, along with a chair under the handle. For that, instead of the lover's touch, I could swear I felt what I thought was an erection in addition to bodily touch it. I wasn't raped, but I was being told that I was going to be if I tried locking the basement door again. And that's when I got really scared. I know what you're thinking. GTFO. But this is the house that I dreamed of owning my whole life, minus the creepy spooner. I couldn't give it up that easily. However, I was considering changing my name to Donna. Up until now, I hadn't seen what would come to me in the night. I didn't want to. I'm 5'6", nothing. I wouldn't scare a squirrel from my yard if I yelled at it. But now? Well, now I was determined to confront what was being the big spoon to my little spoon every night. This fucker was threatening me, and I was angry and scared and tired of being violated at night. That night, there I sat in my kitchen, facing the basement door, cell phone in hand, keys in pocket, just in case I must GTFO. Midnight came and went. 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m. Finally, it was 7 a.m. and nothing had happened. No dirt, no door open, no spooning. I was relieved. But I knew I couldn't keep doing this, nor was I going to move my bedroom into the kitchen. I had to go downstairs. I knew I did. Because my mama didn't raise no fool, I went down there right then and there. I didn't wait until the nighttime to do it. Isn't that how every horror movie starts anyways? I turned on all of the lights and went down the stairs. It looked normal. It looked like a basement. There were boxes with God knows what in them, some furniture, a washer, a dryer, and a hole, like a big fucking hole. A hole so big, I probably could have put a sofa in it and no one would even know. Now, I know what you're thinking. And yeah, I didn't like that hole either. I tried to look down into the hole, but it was extremely deep and blacker than black. I saw no purpose for this hole. Nothing was said to me about a well when I bought the house, and really, it didn't look like a well. It looked like someone dug a hole straight to hell, honestly. I decided right then and there to hire someone to cap it. In the meantime, I was not going to take any chances. I followed Lynze's advice in a way. I went to a healer shop and I bought some crystals. And I bought some salt. And I went home and I circled that hole with both. And then I went to the sheriff's office. After waiting for what felt like an eternity, I finally got to talk with the sheriff. I reminded him of who I was and explained to him why I was there. I told him about the hole, my big spoon, and how I thought the dirt and the basement were all related. I didn't care if he thought I was crazy. I needed to get it all out. I then asked about the family and why the house was abandoned. The house was lost due to foreclosure. The bank foreclosed on the house when payments were 24 months behind. The sheriff said that they followed the standard procedure for a foreclosure, but because the house seemed totally abandoned, the bank decided to auction it off as is, meaning fully furnished. The sheriff did go in when he first tried to serve foreclosure papers to make a welfare check, but it was like the homeowners had just disappeared. Nothing was amiss, just nobody home. He checked on it periodically before it was sold at auction. He said that they did a thorough search for the couple, but found nothing. No sign of them anywhere. No credit card usage, banking, cell phones, nothing. It was like they turned to smoke and faded away. The sheriff changed the locks and then held the auction. He said he could find no relatives to notify. They treated it like a missing persons case, but adults are allowed to do adult things like walk away from a home if they want to. No one had reported them missing, so technically they weren't. He said he didn't know how to help me. He didn't know of any well on the property, and he was rather dismissive and hurried me out of his office. My head spun with information. I was now rethinking my purchase. That night, I discovered that I'd made a huge mistake. I didn't get my nightly visitor. Instead, I got screams and growls like I've never heard before. It sounded like two wild animals were fighting in my basement. I was terrified. I sat in my bed and waited for morning. At least the crystals and salt had done their jobs in keeping old leather hands out of my room. The next morning, the carpenter came to fit a cap for the well. As he was measuring it, he asked me what the hole was used for. I gave a brief story about buying the house, finding the hole, and not having a good history about the home. This guy then began to tell me that it looked like a summoning well. A what the fuck now? I said. I didn't want to know. I just wanted it to be capped. He said that he could do that, but that it really wasn't going to help much if something lived down there. I asked what made him think that something lived there, and he held up a crystal. Joe the carpenter then told me that I should go back to the place where I got the crystals and ask for Anna. She could help me. She was good with this type of stuff. Anna could make things right. Joe said that when the cap was done, Anna should come and be there as it is placed so that it could truly be sealed. I asked how long this would take. About 3 days, he said. Finally, luck was on my side. I spent that night at a hotel. I couldn't take hearing the animalistic noises again. The next morning, I went to the healer shop and asked for Anna. Anna turned out to be Joe's sister, and she was a breath of fresh air and listened to everything I said, the hole in the basement, the dirt, the spooning, the invasive touching, and then how it turned aggressive when I tried to keep her out. I told her how I stayed awake one night to catch it and nothing happened. I told her what the sheriff told me about the previous owners. She never ever said I was crazy and never rolled her eyes. She looked right at me and said she could help. Anna confirmed that it was a summoning well. She said that it could be used for various things, none of them good. The entity that was in the well could continue to escalate in its behavior, especially now since I had escalated things with salt and crystals. Someone had let this thing into my house and now I had to tell it was no longer welcome there. We needed to block the entry to my house from the well. When Joe came to place the cap, Anna was right there with crystals, oils, and herbs. She spoke some words, placed her crystals, and sprinkled the herbs. She also wrote some words and symbols on the cap. And she told me to tell it that I was locking the entry to my house, which is exactly what I did. I stood in front of the hole and symbolically turned a key in a lock while saying, I lock this entry to my house. No man, nor beast, nor entity of any kind is welcome through this door. I'd like to say that there were growls and screams of protest and smoke and all that Hollywood stuff, but there wasn't. It was all rather anticlimactic. Joe put the cap on, nailed it down. I think he even threw down some Gorilla Glue for good measure. Every night since then, the only big spoon that I have had has been my ice cream. Or Joe, if you know what I mean. Love your show to death. Keep on spooping, Jenny and Joe.
I love the ending. I did not expect that.
I know. I'm like, oh, that's how you met your partner. That's so
That's
cute.
awesome. And I mean, pretty nice to meet your partner that way, where you know that like right out the gate, you really love their sister.
Yes.
Like just you got like a built-in friend, and then your lover. Yeah.
And also like if anything spoopy ever happens, you don't have to worry that your partner is gonna, brush it off or say it's not real or whatever. Yeah, I love that story.
Me too. A summoning well. I don't know that I've ever heard that term. I know we've come across wells and basements specifically in a fair number of stories.
It's been a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely come up in like I want to say Amityville.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. There might have been some stuff in the basement, a well, I think in the basement there, a hidden well, and but I didn't realize that there was like a term for like that term, a summoning well.
I'm not super familiar.
I know
with
I might
it.
have to look into that after this recording. That whole thing at the beginning, like the pile of dirt on the floor, waking up to that when you just cleaned the floor after feeling like something touched you in your bed, that is so creepy.
Maybe think of our friend Maggie, who would find puddles of water around her house.
By that doll.
Yep,
just right in front of that little weird creepy ass little doll she had.
Right in her like little entrance foyer.
Yep. Yep. Oh my gosh, there was that thing about the house just being abandoned, that's fascinating too, where like they just were gone. Like, and how that does happen sometimes.
Totally.
It makes me think of when I see cars sometimes on the side of the road.
Yeah.
That it looks like it broke down, and the person, rather than wanting to deal with it or having the funds to deal with it, or just like, I'm just going to leave it here.
I know, but the thing is like when you do things like that, it is attached, I guess unless you've paid cash for it, it is attached to your credit. So like in this instance, the house has gone into foreclosure. So the people that live there, guess who's never getting a home loan again?
I know, I guess.
Or like
they
maybe
just leave
even
the country or something.
I don't know. Well, it makes me feel like something terrible was happening with that well, or maybe they dug the summoning well and things got out of hand. Like there definitely feels like there is some information that we just will never have.
Yeah. And that was good on them to bring up the Donna. We haven't had that term in a while. Like the female Darren. I feel like we've gotten more sensitive to Darrens and Donnas, usually, not always, but usually just being victims of circumstance.
Yeah.
Where it's like once things start, they can't afford to leave.
Mm-hmm.
There is the rare case of somebody who like bad things start to happen and they just double down and like, I'm going to use the Ouija board more.
Well, yes, our original Darren.
Right,
yes.
exactly. And but it's actually hard to find examples of people going out of their way to invite paranormal mayhem into their lives.
Didn't we just have a story recently, like in the UK somewhere, where like a house was very haunted? I think you told it, and then a guy like knowingly bought it.
Well, that happens a fair amount.
Yeah.
But and that one, I don't know that he even lived there, or might have been like an extra home. Just like there's definitely plenty of examples of people who are extremely paranormal curious.
Yeah, okay, that's different.
They just want to explore it. And in that situation, if they bought it knowing that it was haunted.
Yeah, that is different.
But then we're stuck there and had to live there, I'd be like, well, yeah, but you are kind of a Darren now.
Yeah, well, you did that to yourself.
Yeah, you did that to yourself.
Like if you had the funds for a down payment on a house and you knowingly chose this, then that's your fault.
And then the last thing, just to say really quick, I forgot about how houses can come fully furnished. And that would be so odd, just to walk into a home of, not only was it somebody else's house, obviously, which most houses are. I've just never done that. I've never like moved into a house that had anything other than just bare walls, bare floors. That would feel so, I don't know. I'd feel
invasive.
I don't know. It would just feel weird. And then I was picturing it might be great for some eccentric person. Like if it was like a time capsule.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
And they're like, nope, we're just going to leave everything that's there. We're just going to try and fix it up. And I'm just going to live. And it'd be kind of like fascinating just to live in someone else's space like that, where you don't even change the pictures on the walls.
Well, that's too much for me. That's too far.
Wouldn't that be funky though, to walk into somebody's house and you're like, who are all these people? And they're like, I don't know. That's the previous homeowner's relatives, I guess.
But okay, in a way, it actually
like
is
a museum.
Yes, and also like incredibly sustainable. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, we are constantly just like filling the earth with so much fucking waste because, oh, we can't have something used.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know when that happened in our cultural, like when that shift happened, that we just like couldn't possibly use something that's already been used.
Totally. God, I can picture somebody with a really quirky sense of humor doing that. And just walk into their place, just being amused by how confused people are, being like, what is all this stuff?
I feel like Tom Saunders would love that.
Yeah, depending on the stuff, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, one more?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Hey, Dan. Hey, Lynze.
Hello.
Longtime fan of horror, but brand new to your podcast as of 2022. I stumbled on it by accident during a long drive, and I've been binging episodes ever since. What finally pushed me to write in was your episode that talked about skinwalkers. That one hit way too close to home for me. I haven't talked about this with anyone, but my cousin, who was with me that night. After hearing other stories, I feel like it's a good time to get this off my chest. So here's my tale. Believe it or don't, either way, it's 100% real. This happened in 2019, right before the pandemic hit. I was 23, working part-time, and trying to figure out what to do with my life. My cousin Nico and I decided to take a weekend trip up north to get away from the Phoenix heat. We booked a tiny cabin just outside of Payson, Arizona. Nothing fancy. It was cheap and surrounded by thick pine forest. It was perfect. The place was remote with only one other cabin visible through the trees, maybe 100 yards away. We got there late on a Friday just before sunset. The vibe was weird from the start. I'm not superstitious, but the silence in those woods was felt, and it was not peaceful, and it was just too quiet, like something was holding its breath. The cabin itself was rustic. 2 beds, a little kitchenette, a fireplace, and this weird smell, like old wood and something slightly metallic. But it was clean enough, and we didn't plan on being inside much anyways. Nico and I dropped our bags, cracked open a couple of beers, and lit a fire in the pit out back. Around 10 p.m., we heard twigs snapping in the woods. Not just once or twice. It was like something big pacing in the tree line. At first, we thought it might be an elk or a bear, but it never showed itself. Just footsteps, slow and deliberate, circling the clearing. Nico called out, "Hey, we're armed!" Which wasn't true, but he figured it would scare off any animals or people. But whatever it was didn't seem to care. The footsteps paused and then started again, closer this time. We decided to head inside. As soon as we closed the door, something scraped across the back wall of the cabin, like claws or nails, just dragging slowly. I ran to the back window, but I couldn't see anything. Nico grabbed a flashlight and opened the back door, shining the beam into the woods. Only trees and shadows. We tried to brush it off, told ourselves it was an animal, and we went to bed. I was just starting to doze off when Nico whispered, "Bro, get up." His voice sounded wrong, strained. I sat up and saw him standing by the window, staring out into the darkness. "There's someone out there," he said. I looked out. At first, I didn't see anything. And then I spotted it. A figure, human-shaped but wrong, crouched low by the edge of the trees. It was naked, or maybe wearing torn rags, but the way it moved was what messed me up. Jerky, twitchy, like it didn't know how to use its own body. And then it stood straight up. It was at least 7 feet tall, and its limbs were too long, like a stretched out mannequin. It looked directly at us. Nico whispered, "That's not a person." And then it smiled, wide, and way too many teeth, and I swear to God, it mimicked Nico's voice and said, "Bro, get up." Exactly the same way Nico had just said it, like a recording. I lost it. We both did. We slammed the curtains shut, locked every door and window, turned off all the lights, and we sat in silence, just waiting. After maybe an hour, we thought it was gone. But then came the tapping. Not knocking, tapping. Like one long nail tapping slowly on the front door. We didn't look. We sat there frozen. The tapping stopped, and after a minute then, we heard it again. Now on the back window. Tap, tap, tap. And then it spoke again. This time it said, "Let me in." But it was in my voice. And that was it. I grabbed my keys and we just fucking bolted. I didn't care about the deposit or our stuff. We jumped in the car so fast and peeled out of that driveway like our lives depended on it. And maybe they did. We drove straight back to Phoenix in complete silence until the sun came up. Later, I looked up skinwalkers, trying to understand if that was what we saw. Everything I read made it worse. They can mimic voices. They wear the skins of animals or people. They're fast. They're smart. They're malicious. We never went back to get our stuff. The cabin's owner called about a week later asking if we were okay and mentioned that the next guest also left early and said something about, quote, animal noises at night. I still have nightmares about that face, about hearing my own voice asking me to be let in. So yeah, that's my story. Use it if you want, just don't use my full name. I'd rather keep a low profile, especially if these things are real, which I 100% believe they are now. Thanks for creating a place where weird, terrifying stuff like this has a voice. Stay safe out there, and whatever you do, don't answer when something outside calls for you. Best, Carlos.
Thank you, Carlos.
Oh, Los. That sucks.
Yeah, we haven't had heard a Skinwalker tale in a while. And when Carlos talked about it being moving around like in jerky, twitchy fashion and being 7 feet tall, I immediately thought of the movie we watched last night.
Yes.
28 years later.
Yes.
Anybody's looking for a really entertaining movie. I thought it was just very, very entertaining. And it was fun rewatching 28 days later, 28 weeks later.
But you can watch the new one without seeing the other two.
You totally could.
You totally could. You could just jump into it. It's fine.
Yeah, you could totally jump into it. I think it's a little more fun if you have the time to watch the other ones. But there's this, it got a lot of like buzz online. I'm like, people were like rattled about this one ridiculous thing. But these alpha skinwalkers, which made me think when he said like 7 feet tall, or alpha zombies, I guess. and this is not a spoiler because so many people talk about it. But like, yeah, it's naked, this zombie thing, and it's big, and it has just like a big wiener. And it's crazy, like how that bothered. It wasn't
even that featured.
No, it's not that featured.
We saw it a couple times at best.
A lot of childish people apparently got real rattled by a wiener having screen time for maybe 20 seconds in like a 2-hour movie.
You know what's so crazy? Is that did anybody complain about all the tits?
Oh, no one does.
What is that?
People are just, I think specifically a lot of guys. And I think I do think sexuality is on a spectrum, you know? And so like all these guys who want to be so straight and maybe aren't, and it bothers them so much, like they're so just like weirdly homophobic that just, I don't know, like I don't know if they're afraid that like seeing too much dick on screen is going to awaken something in them.
That's literally not how it works. You've been staring at a dick
I know,
your whole life.
But it cracks me up. And I actually did think that there wasn't a lot of people in the theater when we watched. It's been out a little while. But this one guy, and it might have been coincidence, but there was a guy who came and watched by himself. He's probably like 55, 60 years old. And after like probably the biggest scene where the dick makes an appearance, he got up and left. And in my mind, I'm like...
He was also on his phone a lot during the movie.
Oh, he just wasn't into it.
Yeah,
okay.
I was like, what are you even doing here? Please put your phone down.
I didn't see that.
No, because he was next to me, so I noticed it.
Yeah. But in my head, I was like cracking up if he was just like, just enough.
Well, I mean, based on where we live, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, my God.
It's okay, guys. It's okay. It's just a dick.
Just a dick.
But yes, skinwalkers. It made you think of that?
Yeah. I haven't thought about that monster. That would be so unnerving and terrifying to see like this big twitchy 7 foot tall monster thing. And then the sound that comes out of its mouth is your voice or your friend's voice. Like exactly.
Yeah.
That would just like, I think my brain just like a capillary or vein or whatever might burst. And I might just like, just snap and then I just fall down dead. Like it'd just be too much to process.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Well, good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
You want to thank some Annabelles?
I do. I'd like to thank the following Annabelles for their continued support on Patreon, making all of this possible. Amanda and Mark Madewell. Okay, guys, how many times do people ask you if you're the owners of like the Madewell Denim Company?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know it's a Gap brand, but still. Jeffrey Bracely, Nick Fandango, Jake Shrewsbury, Scott Barbine, Caitlin Carter, and Colin F.
Jake Fandango, are you part of the Fandango family that does the movie app? 'Cause that's what we used to buy our tickets.
Yes.
So
it's not spelled the same.
Oh, dang. Okay.
It's off by one letter.
I would like to thank the following Annabelles. Thank you guys so much, all of you Annabelles, guys and gals, and everybody for supporting us. This first one, Damn Yankee and Redneck Asshole. Did you ever? I doubt you listen to the band Damn Yankees ever.
Mm-mm.
It was like this Ted Nugent project, and every time I see the word like "Damn Yankee," one of their songs, like their big hit, immediately starts playing in my mind.
You want to sing it
Can you take me high enough? Row, row, row. And then it's like sometime forever. Na 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 na. It's just like classic. It's like vintage butt rock. Big guitar solos, lots of high notes, but also really good.
Do they play it like what station might they play it on? Like, is that like a song
who
DJ
knows?
Honey might like really?
No, it's too hard for DJ Honey.
Oh,
We've had a lot of requests at Charlotte's. I can't remember. It's been so long.
Charlotte's Contemporary.
Adult Contemporary Station, K something. For Damn Yankees, and it's just too intense. It will scare a lot of our listeners, cause car accidents, too much guitar. So we're going to play some Kenny G. I don't know. I like to think Josh Foster, Janelle Southard. That's a fun name.
Southard.
Oh, I thought it was like South Hard. You're right. Also cool, Janelle. Still cool. Tammy Blaze. That's cool.
a fucking sick name.
Lynze B. Colin Grape. Is your last name really Grape, Colin?
Or is it Grappa?
Oh, maybe.
There
Spelled
wasn't-
grape.
I know, but there was no. Well, I guess
Oh.
Grappa would be with 2 P's.
Yeah, I hope it's grape. Mr. Grape. Tabby.
In the library.
Tabby B. Damon Brobo. Damon Bro. Atlas Carter. And thank you, Atlas, for the phonetic spelling there. And Katharina Albright.
Katharina, or is it? I was
It is
debating.
Katharina.
Or is it Katarina, like phonetically spelled?
No, there's no. It's just cat. Oh, I see. Katarina. I see. I think it's Katharina.
Because like really, there is an H when you say Katarina.
Yeah. Oh, names. They're so fun. And
They're fun.
what I love about names is you can meet 3 people that all have the identical spelling of the same name, and they all want to say it differently.
We had 3 Zachs working for us, and they all had different.
Oh, yeah. ZAQ, ZACH, ZACK.
No, ZAK.
Oh, that's right. ZAK. And I worked with a lady for a long time, Andrea, spelled Andrea. Furious when she was called Andrea. Insisted it was Andrea, no accent marks though. So it's just like her family just made up a different way to say Andrea, and then she's going to spend the rest of her life
The
being
thing
angry.
is knowing her, I bet she is Andrea, and she decided.
She changed it to Andrea, but didn't change the spelling.
Yeah.
But anyway, all of your names, we
They're
like 'em,
beautiful.
and we thank you for them.
You're special.
And now for some spoopy shout outs.
All right. To Matthew, from Matthew, happy birthday to me. To Z from Ross, you are so much more than a girl who poops. You're a bitch that shits.
Hell yeah.
This is a couple, and I was like dying
You're
laughing.
so much more than a girl that poops. You're a bitch who shits. That's nonsensical and awesome at the same
I
time.
want to say this to Monroe.
Yeah. Is Monroe a bitch who shits? Monroe does love to talk about poop.
And also, Monroe is a bitch that shits.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
Monroe will randomly send me text messages.
I don't want to hear about
Yeah.
it. Stop. You guys are disgusting together. I can't handle it. To Dakota from Zoe, so excited to marry you. I can't wait to spend the many years ahead scaring the shit out of you. I love you with all my heart. To Atlas from your mom, Ashley. From day one, it's been you and me against the world, and now it's your turn to show everyone what you can do. I've never been more proud. I love you the mostest to infinity and beyond.
Aw.
Sorry,
that was nice, yeah.
Cutting you off. To Spooky Boo Ella from your mom, Alana or Elena. Happy 12th birthday. You're growing up to be such a loving person. I'm so proud of you and I love you forever. I have a little shout out to you from me. When this episode comes out, it will be one day before our
anniversary.
9th anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
9 years married.
Mm-hmm.
Whoop. You guys don't know, but Dan and I have a really dumb secret handshake now. So we reach across and we touch pointer fingers and then we put them up into the air. Whoop. And it's kind of like, I think we've recently talked
To the
about
moon
this.
or something. I don't know.
Not in this house.
Not in this house, yeah.
See, we can't even agree on what it's about.
It's about a lot of things.
It's whatever you want it to be, honestly. It just makes us giggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our show.
That's our show.
Thank you and happy anniversary.
Yeah, thank you. Happy anniversary.
Thank you for continuing to send in your personal tales of terror to mystory@scaredtodeathpodcast.com. You can email us for everything else at info@scaredtodeathpodcast.com. Thanks to Logan Keith scoring today's show. Thanks to Heather Rylander organizing the My Story emails. To book editor Drew Atana polishing and preparing these listener stories for the upcoming book number 6. That's going to be on sale for just another week. I was able to find both stories I shared this week. We're on Facebook and Instagram where we post pics that accompany episodes and more at Scared to Death Podcast. We also have a private Facebook group, Creeps and Peepers, full of fellow horror lovers. Big thanks to the All Seen Eyes, the Creeps and Peepers moderators. Enjoy your nightmares, Creeps and Peepers. Don't be afraid of on-screen wieners. It's just a dick. and hope you're scared to death.
Bye.
If spirits threaten me in this place, fight water by water and fire by fire. Banish their souls into nothingness and remove their powers until the last trace. Let these evil beings flee through time and space. Evil may pass through, but has no home here within, scared to death.
Bad Magic Productions.
Dale looks like he's already like a veteran stockbroker.
I was just going to say that.